I never imagined my lowest moment would happen in the backyard of a lake house in Vermont. Yet there I was, 30 years old, wrists tied behind a splintered dock post, barefoot on cold flagstone, surrounded by relatives who once pretended to love me. Laughter cut through the air, sharp, cruel, inescapable. My father swirled a scotch like it was just another family gathering. Raising his glass toward me, he grinned like he was proud of some terrible joke. "You've always been a disgrace, Cammy," he announced, loud enough for everyone. "A parasite with no spine." A few uncles chuckled. My cousin pulled out her phone and hit record. I stood still. No flinch. No reply. They wouldn't get the satisfaction. My mother lounged in a wicker chair by the fire pit, pretending not to watch. But this whole scene, it was her idea. "You always thought you were better than us," my sister Vanessa muttered as she passed in her silver cocktail dress. "You're pathetic." My knees trembled. My pride was ashes. I had been labeled the black sheep, the soft one, the failure. Then came the sound, a deep, smooth engine rolling up the gravel drive. Conversations froze. Jaws slackened. A black Rolls-Royce stopped at the gate. The engine clicked off. Doors unlocked. And out stepped him. Alexander Reed. 6 months vanished in a breath. Tall, regal, deliberate, in a charcoal wool suit that looked grown, not tailored. His eyes scanned only me. My pulse faltered. He strode toward me, each step cutting through the shame-soaked air. Guests parted instinctively, like water around a storm. He stopped in front of me, jaw clenched at the rope digging into my wrists. "Camille," he said, voice low, lethal. "Who touched you?" Gasps rippled. My father blinked, stunned. My mother leapt to her feet. Alexander didn't wait. A slim blade slipped from his coat, quiet and precise, slicing through the rope like it was thread. He lifted my hands gently, kissed the bruises with a care that locked my throat tight. Then he turned to face the crowd. "This woman is my wife," he said. "And I want to know which one of you thought tying her up like an animal was acceptable." The yard froze. Vanessa's wine glass cracked. My mother whispered, "Wife," like it was offensive. My father's mouth opened, but no sound came. "This house," Alexander said, calm as ice. "I bought it last week. You have 15 minutes to leave." Shock rippled like wildfire. Faces that once sneered at me now froze in disbelief. My father's glass hung limply from his fingers. Vanessa looked at Alexander like she'd seen a ghost walk through fire. Alexander turned to me, softer now. "Did you ever tell them?" I shook my head. Not about the businesses we built. Not about the debts I'd paid. Not about anything. He glanced at the crowd. "Camille didn't come to beg. She came to protect you from yourselves. This house was in foreclosure. Taxes unpaid. Creditors circling. She drained her savings, sold her car, just to give you more time." The same people who mocked my thrift store shoes now stared like strangers. When the final foreclosure notice came, he continued, "Camille asked me to buy the house quietly. So your precious pride wouldn't suffer." "You're lying," my father shouted. Alexander didn't blink. A folded document appeared in his hand. He handed it to my father. "You signed it yourself," he said. My father's hands shook as he read his own signature. The truth slammed into their faces. I finally spoke. My voice cracked, but it cut through the silence like glass. "I saved you, and you tied me to a post." Alexander's voice steadied. "You didn't raise a failure. You raised a woman who sacrificed her future to preserve your past. And this is how you repay her." He finished calm and lethal. 15 minutes to collect your things. After that, the locks change." For once, they obeyed. No yelling, no tantrums. Just stiff silence and scrambling hands. My mother passed me like I was a ghost. But I wasn't a ghost anymore. I was the one holding the keys. Vanessa tried to walk past me, ignoring me as if I didn't exist. But I did. I had always existed. And now, finally, they could see me, but Alexander wasn't about to let her pretend. He stepped directly into her path. "Vanessa," he said evenly, "apologize." She blinked, as if the word had no meaning. He didn't raise his voice. Didn't flinch. He simply repeated, apologize. You filmed her. You laughed while she stood there tied up in front of strangers. You humiliated your own sister. Now apologize. Her face flushed crimson. Her jaw twitched, not from guilt, but from pride cracking under pressure. Rage simmered just beneath her lips. Still, she looked at me, voice tight. I'm sorry. I said nothing. Just a single nod. Somehow, that crushed her more than any scream ever could. My father walked past next. He paused, hesitant, then looked at Alexander. Whatever she told you, she didn't tell me anything. Alexander cut in smoothly. I watched her hold this family together for years while you all looked the other way. My father opened his mouth, but Alexander continued. She would have forgiven you even today if you'd shown 1 ounce of remorse. Stone hit home. My father's face cracked. He lowered his head, not in shame, but in recognition of everything he never saw. Then he walked away. No hug, no apology, just silence. And somehow, that was enough. When the final car rolled down the gravel drive and the yard hushed, it was just me and Alexander beneath the late summer sky. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from my face. You all right? I nodded slowly. I think I am now. Then, to my own surprise, I laughed, soft, weightless, like exhaling years of buried breath. Alexander smiled, warm and familiar. Come on, he said, slipping his fingers through mine. You've spent your life saving everyone else. Let's talk about what you want now. For the first time, I was ready. When the last SUV disappeared down the winding drive, the stillness it left behind was almost deafening, not the crushing kind I once dreaded, but gentle, quiet, lungs filling for the first time in years. The night air, brushed with pine and the last warmth of sunset, felt like breathing for the first time. For so long, that house had echoed with cold glances, polite cruelty, and performances for neighbors who never saw behind the curtain. I tiptoed those floors like I didn't belong, the girl who fixed the plumbing, paid the bills, blamed when the lights flickered anyway. But now, standing in the foyer with Alexander's hand laced in mine, it felt different. It felt mine. Feels different, doesn't it? He asked, gently setting his keys down near the door. I nodded. I keep thinking someone's about to bark at me to polish the silver. No one's going to do that ever again, he said softly. I walked slowly into the living room, the same one where hours earlier I'd been mocked. Wine glasses sat like forgotten props. Cake plates lined the table like remnants of a stage performance gone sour. Alexander followed, patient. You're allowed to be angry, he said. I'm not, I whispered. I'm just tired. Tired of begging for crumbs, twisting myself into something more palatable. He nodded. You never had to earn their love. They failed you. That quiet truth lodged deep. We stepped onto the back patio, now bathed in golden light. The pole where they'd tied me still stood. Alexander untied the last frayed rope, tossing it into the trash without a word. You could sell this place, he said, leaning on the railing. We could start over. Paris, Seattle, somewhere warm, somewhere free. I smiled. You know I hate snow. He laughed. Then scratch Vermont. I sat on the old cedar bench, letting the final golden light of evening warm my skin. For the first time in forever, I wasn't bracing for a jab. Not tensing for sarcasm. Not waiting to be told I was too sensitive, too dramatic, too much. Do you remember when we met? I asked. Of course, Alexander said. You were juggling 2 jobs, finishing night classes, managing your father's bookkeeping, and making sure your mom had her prescriptions. And you, he smiled, were living above that used bookstore downtown, building a software company in a rented hoodie no investor would touch. He laughed softly. You were the only one who believed in it. I looked at him, not a billionaire, not a savior, but someone stubborn, brilliant kind. Someone with more heart than the entire family I'd been drowning in. The quiet settled again, soft and welcoming. We sat together for a while. No need to speak. No need to defend or explain. Just stillness. Just peace. Eventually, I leaned my head on his shoulder and whispered what I hadn't dared say in years. I want to start over. I want a life that's mine. He brushed my knuckles. Say the word. We'll build it. Brick by brick. No more proving anything to anyone. The house behind us didn't feel like a prison anymore. It felt like a door opening. Peace arrived quietly, not with a bang, no applause, no spotlight, but like a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. That night, after everyone had left, we sat on the living room floor, backs against the couch, lights off. Nothing but the hum of crickets and a silence that finally felt safe. Alexander took my hand, tracing the faint marks the rope had left, like learning each wound to help it heal. I glanced at the perfectly staged family portraits still on the wall. I walked to one, took it down and turned it over. Eat it, he asked. I shook my head, laying it face down on the table. That wasn't who I was anymore. For years, I had tried to fit into a frame someone else had painted. Beautiful daughter, quiet sister, fallback plan. They called me dramatic for standing up for myself, selfish for setting boundaries, invisible for succeeding without their permission. Now I didn't need their approval. The next morning, sunlight filtered through open windows, carrying the clean scent of rain-soaked pine. The house exhaled after years of tension. Alexander handed me a cup of coffee, like it was instinct, like this was our rhythm now. I felt home. Over the week, we cleared the house room by room. I packed my parents' things without tears, only clarity. I wasn't grieving. I was letting go. I'd carried their burdens long enough. In the attic, we found my old notebooks, scribbles from a life too loud to speak aloud. One was titled Things I'll Do When I'm Free. Alexander leaned over, teasing. Learn to paint a sunset? I laughed. Big dreams. Mine. Then let's get you some paint, he said, kissing the top of my head. Together, we turned the dusty study into a bright art room. Every stroke on canvas felt like a piece of me returning. Dinners shifted too. The old oak table, once a seat for shame, now held candles, bread, laughter, warmth. One night, Alexander handed me a key, a cabin up north, lake view, no neighbors, just sky, trees, and quiet. You're not running away, are you? I asked. He shook his head. I just want you to know, from now on, you have options, not obligations. That was when I knew. This life was mine. Not borrowed. Not earned through sacrifice. Just mine. Months later, a cousin's engagement invitation arrived. My name was spelled wrong. The envelope read, Camille and guest if any. Wanna go? Alexander asked. No, I smiled. But I want to send something. I slipped a photo of us at a global tech summit, smiling beside his innovation award, into the envelope. Signed, from the useless child. Thank you for setting me free. No bitterness. No vengeance. Just truth. Now I wake and water my herbs. I paint. I walk barefoot on the porch with coffee while Alexander hums off-key in the kitchen. We laugh. Not because life is perfect, but because it's finally real. I don't know where we're heading. I don't need to. The girl they tied to a post is gone. In her place stands a woman with her own voice, a love that never asked her to shrink. If I could speak to that broken, bruised girl, I'd whisper, hold on. You're not finished yet. The best part is still coming. And if this story stirs something in you, if you've ever felt overlooked, silenced, told you're too much or not enough, leave a comment. You're not alone. Start building your piece, brick by brick, word by word, color by color. Believe in second chances, quiet strength, and becoming the hero of your own story. Healing doesn't happen in silence, and neither does the next chapter. Let's turn the page.